Hi everyone, this is going to be a video about Twitter, but it's also going to be a video about Elon Musk and religion, Taika Waititi, free speech, movies, Donald Trump, Ilhan Omar, the value of appreciation that we get just from being acknowledged. Yeah, this was supposed to be an easy video this week, but I got too deep too fast. I'll try to restrain myself, but if this video is longer than 10 minutes, then I probably failed. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk about everyone's favorite dopamine-releasing and thought-venting landfill, Twitter.com. Twitter has a reputation of being a terrible website where you are exposed to the worst of humanity, and while there are corners of that website that I cannot defend, I am going to offer a rebuttal argument. I like it. I recently went on a social media purge. I deleted my old Snapchat, my Reddit, my old Tumblr account. I wiped all my TikTok videos, but I couldn't delete Twitter because, despite its reputation, I do like the connection it brings me. And I kept Instagram because I'm vain. I have met a lot of my internet friends through Twitter. The app is really good at recommending like-minded accounts to you, so for better or worse, it's easy to connect with people who share a similar mindset to you. If you use it in a casual way to befriend people or joke around with others, it can be a pretty useful tool for online connection. However, this video is not one big endorsement for Twitter. They aren't paying me enough for that. Actually, this video is about how Twitter is an exceptional way to misunderstand the point of meaningful discussions and engage in reactionary outbursts. The three things that I want to look at today are just three different ways of saying opinions, but I promise it's more insightful than that. Just give me a chance. Let's first look at how Twitter can override the discussions around viral topics. You know, those trending stories that captivate the online space for 8 hours and then disappear to never be spoken of again. I love culture. Recently, a video of a Christian ministry group playing a church song on an airplane went viral. The caption was, and I can't make this up, "We are taking this flight over for Jesus." And it drew very strong reactions from people in response, including those in the moment. Regardless on your relationship with religion, I would hope that we can all agree that a commercial flight is not the right place to perform anything. Playing church songs for people who have the option to stop and listen seems completely fine to me, but if your game plan is reliant on trapping people in a metal tube 30,000 feet in the air with no option to opt out, it's probably a pretty good sign that you're going about it wrong. Personally, I don't know if this discourse needed to go any deeper than that, but religion is a very touchy subject online, so there was a lot of heated debate around this video. There was a lot of heated discussions around the promotion of values, the factor of consent in terms of faith, and notably, the prominent acceptance of Christianity in America. On that note, the United States Representative Ilhan Omar commented on the topic, "I think my family and I should have a prayer session next time I'm on a plane. How do you think it will end?" I think she's right to add that to the overall discussion. It's pretty important to consider. It's a commentary on how Muslim practices are seen in America versus how just accepted Christian values are. It might not be the most verbose tweet, but it's evocative of a good discussion to have, and I think it's a valid opinion to contribute. If you aren't aware, Ilhan is a very controversial figure to American conservatives because she exists, mainly. And this tweet of hers was viewed as an attack on Christianity as a concept, not these specific people, which made all of these conservatives assemble like the Avengers. Shout out to @Ilhan. Her anti-Christian hate helped propel a song praising Jesus to 33 million views over Easter weekend. Even the rocks will cry out. All right, I'm sorry. I went to a Catholic middle school for 2 years, but even I don't remember this one. I gotta look that one up. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what she's talking about. There is no one more racist in Congress than Ilhan Omar. That one's from Gunther Eagleman. The account It's Common Sense says Ilhan Omar is a racist asshole. Who agrees? Hang on, I'm curious about something. Let's look at their account and see what else they tweet. Anthony Fauci is an asshole. Who agrees? You can't be a Christian and also be a Democrat. Who agrees? Yeah, alright. Every post from this account ends with who agrees. So they might as well just drop the act and end it with, "I need you to engage with the tweet, damn it." Do you see what happened? Someone posted their opinion on a viral discussion, something everyone has been doing before, but because this person holds political weight, it is now being used against them and their party. It's a direct response to irrelevant discourse with an agenda. And I'm not trying to imply that this is only a conservative tactic, because you can't remotely criticize a Democratic politician without making a lifetime enemy of people who write children's books about Donald Trump. Political issues do deserve to be discussed with proper discourse, but Ilhan was just commenting on a viral post here. Like, I don't know if she was setting up the stage for a debate. For it to be misinterpreted and then used as veiled political fodder against her, I think is unnecessary, but it's what Twitter loves. Twitter actively wants you to engage in long, heated, lengthy discussions because Twitter sells ad space based on the time their app is used. Twitter actively wants you to engage in long, lengthy fights because they can use the time you spend online to sell to advertisers, so they can slip in an ad for Coca-Cola in between every fight you're in. And speaking of fights, let's talk about how sides of Twitter will sometimes pick something just to argue for or against, because Twitter loves opinions. Because they're all different and no one wants to change their minds, so they'll just fight forever and ever and ever and ever. Recently, the film director Taika Waititi was the subject of a heated debate. If you're unfamiliar, Taika is known for amazing films like Jojo Rabbit and Hunt for the Wilderpeople. Taika is currently having a bit of a renaissance right now for a vampire show where they're a little fruity, a pirate show where they're very fruity, and the upcoming Thor movie where he's showing signs of acting fruity. This man is very popular with the online youth. But because for every action there is an equivalent and opposite reaction, whenever something or someone starts receiving a lot of love online, there has to be a group of people who play devil's advocate in order to push back against him, no matter how arbitrarily. And right now, it happened to be Taika. Some critics banded together to voice how Jojo Rabbit, a movie about a young German boy who was indoctrinated into a certain and specific World War II group, is a promotion of those negative values and is made worse by the fact that Taika himself portrays a version of the party leader. Because the protagonist of the film starts out as a member of the you-know-what party, and Taika's character is his imaginary friend, a silly manifestation of you-know-who, these critics are saying that the film is humanizing that party and actively making it seem and feel relatable to audiences. Because Taika is very beloved on film Twitter, and film Twitter is spirited, there were thousands of tweets berating the people who had these opinions, to the point where Taika Waititi's name was trending. He was also trending because of the Thor trailer, but the discourse spawned from that, so they go hand in hand. Regardless of how you personally feel about Taika and his filmmaking style, I think it's a misunderstanding to view Jojo Rabbit as pro-you-know-what. Sorry, I love doing this bit. I think the film is very clear in its messaging. Taika is a Jewish man, and spoiler alert, the movie ends with Fantasy Adolf getting kicked in the balls and falling out a window. How much clearer do you want it? But again, I want us to look at what was the point of this discussion. Twitter is a site for sharing and defending your opinions, as most public forums are. But because a handful of people read Jojo Rabbit one way, Taika's name ends up getting overused because thousands of people are jumping in to defend him. And believe me, I am not saying people should not be defending Taika's name. I'm just also saying that I don't think that these other people should have been berated and insulted thousands of times for having an opinion, even though I do agree that opinion was misguided. I can't believe I'm playing devil's advocate for the devil's advocates. I'm a mess. I am mainly just interested in the fact that you and I are talking about this now because Twitter decided to highlight what should have been a simple debate as if it were a national emergency. If there's a debate happening, especially if it's a controversial one, Twitter will put it in front of you and go, "Hey, active user, do you want to engage in some discourse?" Because they have incentive for you to engage with it, because the more time you spend fighting, the more ads they sell, more money they get, blah, 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 you know. And finally, we can't talk about Twitter without bringing up Elon Musk. Ever. The man is behind every corner online. He is the internet's sleep paralysis demon. Recently, Elon purchased stock in Twitter and was starting to join the board of directors. Only a short time later, he offered to buy the entire stock of Twitter, which would make him the owner of the platform. Elon has always been a self-proclaimed champion of free speech, which is very apparent by his clearly unvetted tweets. I do think it's important to stay humble, but I think most of the people watching this video can probably come up with tweets better than these. Ooh, but believe me, I am not here to shame anyone for their online presence. I have made terrible tweets as well. I can't defend this. I should delete this one. But Elon is a 50-year-old divorced dad of 8 and the richest man in the world, and I'm just a dipshit YouTuber, right? Like, we're not exactly on equal playing fields. I think that's the first time I've called myself a YouTuber out loud. Oh, I didn't love it. Elon has a passionate and dedicated Twitter fan base, and the replies of every single one of his tweets seem to regard him as a god of creation, or at least a real-world Tony Stark. To them, the idea of him becoming the boss of Twitter was celebrated as a monumentous victory. This did not happen, however, and Elon's offer was clarified by insiders as unserious and was more likely just an open critique of how the company's currently managed. I also think he stepped down from the board, but I don't know. I'm not a good researcher. It's like 8 a.m. But this does raise a lot of interesting discussions about free speech on an app that sells itself on speech. Why and how would Twitter be restricting our free speech? Who exactly is on this board of managers? And if one person did own all of Twitter, how would they influence it? Now, for a day, there was some discussion about how Elon Musk specifically should not be the one to own Twitter. And that discussion was mainly around all of the embarrassing conversations about him on Twitter. People were sharing embarrassing images of his youth, embarrassing images now, as well as other photos of him that he may not want spread around, saying, "Post these while you still can, LMAO." I personally think that there are better critiques we could give Elon instead of pulling up embarrassing pictures of his youth, you know? We all have embarrassing old pictures. He's not special for that one. But I do think Elon Musk owning and controlling Twitter is not a good idea. I just want to extend that and say no one person should own and control Twitter. I think ownership influence is a real thing, right? No matter who would own Twitter, their direct influence would be apparent in the app. Even right now, whoever is on this board of managers probably is influencing the app, and we just don't know how. For example, the creator of Twitter is a big Bitcoin nerd, so you have the option to use an NFT as your profile image. I'm positive there's a correlation there. Think of 2 of your favorite YouTube channels and now switch the creators, right? Even if they're similar in their styles of content, the channels will feel different now because you've taken away the individual influence that creator had on their work. If someone else tweeted from your account, your followers would probably be able to tell because there really is a lot of individual personality that comes through ownership. There was so much discussion of what a Twitter owned by Elon Musk would look like, and we were so close to talking about what a Twitter owned by whoever looks like now. In fact, we should probably look into who owns all of our favorite apps and how their personal agendas and ideals might be seeping through the interface, because that might be happening under our noses. And I would love for that to be the main discussion that captivates the online space, because there might be insight and good that comes from that. But Elon Musk is just more attention grabbing, and I can't really fault anyone for that. I don't love how these arguments turned into a pro versus anti-Elon Musk debate, because I do see that as one of the more unproductive arguments to have. There's enough about Elon Musk out there to make up your mind on him, no matter which direction you side on. Personally, I'm not a fan of him for a number of reasons, but I've thought about him a lot, and I do understand why his fan base has that weird, obsessive-like fascination with him. When Elon was rising in popularity, his company promised people flamethrowers. When he moved to Tesla, he promised them self-driving cars. With SpaceX, he's promising people AI and space travel and a terraformed Mars. He keeps promising people these gifts as long as they keep supporting him. Elon Musk is the Santa Claus for nerds. That wasn't even in my notes. I just came up with that. Elon is very polarizing on Twitter. If people hate him, they're going to voice those opinions. If people like him, they're going to voice those opinions. Twitter is going to say, hey, look at this debate, and then they're going to get money, ads, usage, blah, blah, blah. You get it. It's that again. I'm definitely past my video goal of 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap this up quick. Thank you for spending your time with me. Twitter is a good source for exchanging ideas and engaging in discussion, but the app has a tendency to promote fighting and opinionated engagement over rational discourse. Calm insight is not profitable for them because it ends arguments quicker, and it would rather you engage emotionally and in outbursts. And I am not immune to that, because I will see a tweet like this, and my initial reaction is to react. But I have to remember that it is not helpful for me to get confused and angry. Or confrangry. And no, it's not likely that any one of us can systematically change the way Twitter enforces these kind of heated arguments. Not unless all of us pool our money and outbid Elon Musk. Instead, I think the best way for us to go about this is to personally do our part and not engage with discourse in a way that fuels it. If you see a tweet that is very clearly trying to elicit a reaction out of you, don't take the bait and fight an unwinnable fight, because I don't think that person is open to changing their mind. Topics only trend on Twitter because of the volume of conversations happening around it. So if you see something that's not worth discussing on Twitter, don't tweet about how not worth discussing it is. Just don't discuss it on Twitter. And if you do see an argument that you think is worth engaging with, don't play by Twitter's rules. If you can, try your best to talk to the person through the screen and reason with them human to human, because that's likely going to resonate with them more than blind insults and emotional arguments. Healthy internet discourse is possible, damn it. I believe in us. And don't wave off Twitter as some hell site, because I promise, if you can find it, there is good on there. There's also bad on there, like my tweets. Yeah, I'm not above it. Don't follow me. Thank you all for listening to my passionate manifesto. I do consider myself lucky to be able to share this time with you, as sappy as that sounds. Seriously, thank you for watching. I'll be back next week with another rant about something weird, I'm sure, but in the meantime, if you feel up for it, please like this video in order to tell YouTube that I'm doing a good job. And as always, a big I love you most ardently to all of my patrons who have donated to the channel and financially freed me from the shackles society puts on people. #deep. I think my caffeine is kicking in. I hope you all have amazing dreams, and I will be astral projecting myself into them in order to fight off the nightmares. If you have a good dream this month, that was me. You're welcome. I hope you're all able to take care of yourselves and others this week. Life is fragile, and the only way we're getting through it is together. I hope you know that you are loved, and I wish nothing but the best for you. Take care of yourselves. I love you lots. Goodbye.